Hey YouTube, it's Empirant, and today I wanted to take a look at just how much getting Loom early on in a game can impact your economy, as opposed to getting it right before clicking to Feudal as most build orders suggest. On one hand, you might think there would be relatively few negative consequences to getting Loom early, since you have to spend the 25 seconds getting the tech either way, so why should it matter if you get it at the start of your build order or the end of it? On the other hand though, this will effectively put you one villager behind an opponent who delays Loom until the end of Dark Age, which should theoretically give them a resource edge. So how big is this edge, and is it ever worth it to get Loom early despite the potential resources lost? Let's find out. First, to give a little context as to why somebody might find it beneficial to get Loom early, as most of you know, Loom gives your villagers plus 15 health, plus 1 melee armor, and plus 2 pierce armor, making your villagers significantly harder to kill. It is almost always recommended that you pick this up before Feudal Age, particularly on open maps, when enemy raids are much more likely to be coming in. The most common spot to get Loom is immediately before clicking up to Feudal Age, however, there are times in which getting Loom earlier can be beneficial. The main two situations are when luring a boar, particularly from far away, or when looking to wall up early with the enemy's Dark Age scout wandering around. A loomed villager can take significantly more hits from a boar, and can actually beat a Dark Age scout one-on-one. Additionally, Loom might be picked up early in order to avoid idle TC time if you wind up housed during your Dark Age. But how much will this early Loom truly cost you? To look at the math, one villager can generally gather around 21 resources per minute, although that varies slightly depending on the resource being gathered. Assuming you get Loom immediately upon starting the game versus somebody who gets Loom last before clicking up to Feudal Age at around 8 minutes, that should give you about 7.5 minutes of being down a villager. All told, this means that in the absolute worst case scenario, this should result in your being down about 157 resources. In practice though, it comes out to quite a bit less than that. After running through a fairly common 22 population Dark Age build 3 times with getting an early Loom and 3 times with a more standard Loom, I found that on average an early Loom only lost me about 53 resources by the time I had hit Feudal Age. While admittedly this isn't a perfect representation, as it doesn't account for human error between each test or random RNG elements that may occur, I did try to limit confounding factors. For example, I used the exact same build on the exact same map generation for each test. I built my lumber camps and mills in the exact same spots each game and did my best to send villagers out to the exact same trees and berry bushes. So why such a drastically different number of resources lost between the theoretical number of 157 and the in-practice number of 53? Well, I suspect that it is mostly due to the fact that villagers cannot be collecting resources 100% of the time. After being produced, each villager still has to walk to their assigned gather point, still has to drop off the resources after they've gathered 10, and some villagers still have to construct houses, a mill, and a lumber camp, during which they are not bringing in any resources, and ultimately, as soon as the second player researches Loom, their villager advantage is gone. It is also important to note that these numbers are based on the worst case scenario against the best case scenario. If getting Loom immediately puts you at about a 53 resource deficit, then getting it halfway through your Dark Age build, say before a boar lure or before sending out a walling vill, should leave you at only about a 25 resource deficit. This also means that getting housed in Dark Age, while certainly annoying, isn't at all the end of the world as long as you use your otherwise idle TC to pick up an early Loom. So how can we apply this knowledge to our gameplay? I don't think the right takeaway from this video is to say you should always get an early Loom. Just because getting Loom early only loses you about 50 resources, that doesn't mean that those 50 resources can't be important. A 50 resource deficit at the start of Feudal can be the difference between affording Horse Collar and Double Bid Axe right away, or having to wait, potentially losing you even more resources. Ultimately, I think the best takeaway from this video though is to know that if you have a circumstance where getting an early Loom would be beneficial, such as having a particularly long boar lure, wanting to wall up early with the enemy's Dark Age scout around, or simply forgetting to build a house and needing to prevent an idle TC, getting Loom early will not put you at a significant disadvantage in resources, especially if it is done in the middle of a build instead of being the very first thing you do. That's all from me today though. Thanks for watching this video everyone. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up down below, hit that subscribe button, and leave any questions you may have down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, I hope to see you all in the stream sometime, and have a good one.